Welcome to Flip Lesson 7.5. As we look at this lesson today, we are covering a couple different ideas. First of all, we're looking at place values up to the 100 trillions, and second of all, how to write really any number up to that place value and working with numbers in that way. All right, so we got our big review of saying numbers, writing numbers, and different things like that. In the past, as you've grown as a math student, you have slowly climbed up the ladder, learning your ones and your tens and your hundreds, right? Then moving to your thousands, to your millions, to your billions, and of course, today we get to our trillions, which is probably not a new idea, though we definitely want to be able to read these numbers and work with these numbers. And so we have our trillions place, right? We don't say 1 trillions, just say trillions, 10 trillions, and hundreds trillions. So let's get to work and using this information. First of all, it says which digit is in the trillions place, right? So when we see a number like this, we're going to say, okay, here's our 1,000 mark, here's our million mark, here's our billion mark, here's our trillion mark, and so right here, we're going to underline, and we would say that this 9 right here is in the trillions place, right? And so we have that little bit of review. Go ahead and pause the video and answer this sample question then about the sixes. Realize that there are more than 1 6 in this problem. Moving on, and then we get to the idea of what's called expanded notation. And for today, we're not going to use exponents or anything like that. We're just going to rework what expanded notation is all about. And basically, it's taking a number and breaking it down into its place values. And so if I take my 2, right, I write 2, but 2 isn't really the number that is there. It's actually 20,000. And so to write that in expanded notation, I would write 2 times 10,000, and this of course is the place value that is being held there. And then of course I'm going to add that to the 6, right? But it's not actually the number 6, it's actually right in the thousands place value. And then of course you would add, I'm running out of room here, 9 times, oh, ran out of room. I thought I could make it, but I couldn't. 100. And of course we get that answer by doing that. And so that is how we do expanded notation. Once again, a review concept. So here is a slightly more challenging one as you work with that. Go ahead and pause the video. Okay, from there we get into how do we write words or numbers using words. And so we see an example like this, and suddenly we're thrown up with a bunch of numbers, and we got to make sure we understand where we're placing our commas, right? So every 3 digits, we place a comma like that. And once we put our commas in there, now we can understand what it is, right? So we start by saying, okay, we're starting with our 3, and we got thousands, millions, right? So we got 3 million. And we don't write and, right? And is this. That's a decimal point. We're not going to talk about that today, right? Next, we go to 4. 3 million. 400. 6,000. My 1,000 got a little squished. Right? And then finally on, I'm going to say 500. $21. So we have that number. It's something you've done before, way back when. Maybe it wasn't that long ago, right? But we definitely want to use this skill and keep this skill in practice. One, it helps us read numbers correctly. Two, it helps us understand those. So here's your sample problem. It says use only digits and commas to write 36 million. So here you're doing the reverse, use digits and commas to do this as you're working with this. From here, we can talk about just using digits, right? And as we work with this, we break this down and we say, okay, I got my digits, right? 20 trillion, right? 50 billion, 304 million. And so as we look at all those different things, we have numbers that we can write. All right, so I'm going to give this one to you as another sample problem to work through also. And finally, we have our final example for today, right? And a little story to lead you on your way. Go ahead and pause the video, read the story, and answer the question as stated. That is lesson 7.5, right? So lesson 5.